welcome to We'd Rather Be Reading. I'm Jerrica.
And I'm Lia.
And today we're talking about The Kiss Quotient by Helen Hoang.
That's right.
And this is a 3-part series because the next 2 books pick up on other male characters in the world of this Vietnamese family and cousins and friends of them as well. And I think that it's a beautiful, coming to America, fitting into the world of fast-paced craziness and all of the rich Asian kind of lifestyles, which I love. Crazy Rich Asians, so good.
Yes, I did love that too. Oh, we watched a crazy movie the other day. It was called Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, or something like that. And I can't even describe it. It's time travel and it's multiverse and you have to do the craziest thing in order to acquire skills from other people in the multiverse that is you. And at one point he has to give himself paper cuts between every finger so he can acquire this skill. And it is the weirdest thing that it is mad. This
sounds
movie is absolutely mad. And
a horror? Also, is this not a horror?
It's not a horror. It's funny. I think you're gonna have to watch it. Yeah.
Okay.
I can't describe it. It is hilarious. And we also started watching this TV show that you have to watch.
Okay.
It's called Starstruck, and you will love this show. It is basically the best romance book you have ever read, but on TV. No. So I'm not gonna tell you anything else about it. You're gonna have to watch it. It's on HBO.
Starstruck on HBO. Okay, done. I've actually seen the cover for it, but I didn't know what it was about.
Jave started showing it to me yesterday, and we finished the entire first season. And
what?
Episode 1 of season 2. It is good.
Wow.
Good.
Okay. Do they communicate with each other?
Yes and no.
Are there multiple partners?
You're gonna see. It is hilarious. You're gonna have to watch it. It's okay. All right. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the Kiss Quotient, which I read a long time ago.
Yeah. And I recommended it to me.
You have to read it.
Yeah.
And then you were like, meh, sounds boring.
It does sound boring.
Yeah.
You know why? I read The Love Equation and all these other romance books that had math involved in the premise of it. And they were kind of all boring to me. There was nothing super special that stood out. And so I didn't give it a chance until now, but I'm glad that I did because it was a really fantastically narrated book.
Yeah.
This is a math romance book, or I should say an econometrician romance book.
Econometrician.
We can see that clearly from the cover. So the cover is 2 people, a guy and a girl, in turquoise also, same as the last book that we read. And there's a lot of equations happening in the background here, Little Beautiful Mind kind of situation.
I feel like this is the same cover artist for this as
I have an inkling that there is the same cover artist for a lot of this style of books, and people are interested in the books based on the fact that they have similar cover artists.
But I mean, for sure. And I also think that these kinds of covers, they're always going to be colorful, which means they're going to stand out.
Yeah.
And there's this turquoise, and the text is in yellow. There's a little pinkish splash up here. These are all stuff that for women, traditionally freaking gatherers, this is pew, pew, pew in our brains where we're ooh, I like this. This is colorful, and I can maybe eat it.
And the what? That's hilarious. So we pick up these covers, in fact, because we're all starving for dessert, and we don't give ourselves
berries. We're starving for berries. Goodness, dessert, berries. It's berries.
Well, nevertheless, the book also always has animated characters on it, which is a little bit vague, which leaves the romance reader having their own imagination of what their characters look like versus these I don't want to say cheaper, but different covers that have the abs and the girl and the guy and like actual models on it.
Yeah.
Because then to us, when you see a model on a cover, that's what the character looks like. But if it's animated, then it's a free-for-all. It is up for your imagination.
Which is true. And I mean, I do like that. I prefer abs.
Can we just say that all romance books should have abs on it? Even if it's like a little caption in the corner, like a little box of PS.
We watched...
He has 8-pack. He has a 12-pack.
The Lost City? Does that ring a bell for you?
The Lost City?
The Lost City. I think
City
it was...
of Bones?
No. It's like a movie. Yeah. The Lost City with Sandra Bullock and Channing Tatum. And this is... Okay, so in this movie, Sandra Bullock is a romance author and Channing Tatum is her cover model. So he's been on all of her covers.
Is this a recent movie?
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, how have I never heard of this?
Yeah, it's not very
Channing
good.
Tatum is the
It's
cover
not good.
model?
It came out April 20th this year.
This year?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
Oh.
So he's the cover model for all of her romance books. And he has like this blonde long hair.
No.
And like the open shirt.
Channing Tatum does? Oh gosh.
It is hilarious. And then she's really like what is she? She wrote like historical books that were never published, and then someone was like, you should just write romance, and then she did, and then she fell into this romance thing where she just writes romance books.
Okay.
Which is like that other book we read where the guy was pretending to be a girl. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's the same kind of premise that she writes these books, she doesn't really care about them, but there is historical, archaeological finding, like settings in these books because it's like adventure and romance and all this and that.
Okay.
And he's the cover model, and then in this movie, she gets like kidnapped, and then he has to come and rescue her. And it is funny. It's a lot of fun. And,
is it supposed to be a comedy?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
And Brad Pitt is in it too.
What?
Yeah, it's good. And Daniel Radcliffe, like Harry Potter, is the bad guy. And,
nice.
Yes. No, it's funny. It wasn't great, but it was funny enough. But that's talking about like cover models and having like the same person on all of your books. Like we read that other author that you like that has on her Instagram shows links to her cover models Instagrams.
Oh, the best.
And then you can just follow and rule over there.
Michelle Hercules.
Yeah, you like.
She has the best cover models. I swear, sometimes she only writes books so that she can get another cover model and hang out with him for a few months. Because that is what I would do.
Yeah.
Because technically her books are all fantasy too, so they're like vampires and werewolves and stuff. They don't need to be models. They could very easily be animated covers. But she went the right way.
Yeah, she did. It is all the abs, all of that. But there's a funny joke in this movie where Brad Pitt's character, his name is Jack Trainer, and then he's in the phone. He's like, I had this personal trainer once. And he's in my phone as Jack Trainer, like, because I just name people first name and what they work with, and then his name is actually Jack Trainer's.
Weird.
Yeah, it's funny.
Okay.
It was funny. It was funny, but that's not. Again, I keep getting off track with this book. Okay. I think it's because it's been so long since I read it. But yeah, Stella Lane is our main character in the Kiss Quotient.
Tell us about Helen Hoang. This is her first book.
Yeah, Helen Hoang is that shy person who never talks until she does. And then the worst things fly out of her mouth. Mm. She read her first romance novel in 8th grade and has been addicted ever since. And in 2016, she was diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder in line with what was previously known as Asperger's syndrome. And her journey inspired the Kiss Quotient. She currently lives in San Diego, California with not just her first husband, but her husband, 2 kids, and a pet fish. Here's me, I read her first husband first time around. And there's nothing worse than when you're still married to your first husband to refer to them as your first husband, because it really, really implies that.
But she did not. This was Leah's brain. This was not the author.
It's like my kids' school. They had a principal, and then they sent out this message to all the parents saying, our current principal is doing something. And I'm like, this means that they're going to replace her. Like, she is losing. You don't refer to someone as your current anything unless you're planning on replacing them. So yeah, no, it was just my brain. I don't think she has any plans on replacing her husband, but who knows?
Right.
Can't speak for her.
And she's, of course, the author of all of these 3 books, Kiss Quotient being the first. And all 3 books have a autistic spectrum character in it. Main character, love interest character. Whether it's the male or the female. And in this Kiss Quotient, it is the female.
Yeah. And she's highly successful.
Econometrician. She is, in fact, do you know what this job is?
She can math good.
No. Do you know, the job is actually, when she says it and she's like so proud of her job, I was like, oh, you thieving little. But it is when the intelligence of like, when you're online shopping, and then they like refer, oh, if you like this, you might like this.
Yeah.
And then you get ads on all of your social medias and stuff based on what you have previously purchased. This is because of her.
They're really good at this too. Like, I bought so many things. I went on like a shopping spree the other week with just buying all of I bought a Furminator.
I have no idea what that is.
This is something that's supposed to extinguish fur from your clothes and your furniture.
Extinguish?
Yeah. It's a fancy word for a reusable roller that picks up cat fur of furniture. Yeah.
Okay, then. So you're a little gullible with that kind of stuff.
It works. What can I say?
No,
I
it
bought
works.
like 2 different things. One is like this little scraper thing, and you run it over like couches and stuff. And we had a lot of fur on our couch. I ran that thing and I was like, to my cat's named Cake. I'm like, Cakey, you lost half your fur. I found it for you.
And she's like, all right,
okay, let me get started on recoating all your furniture.
Thanks.
I'll start over here. My daughter dropped a black hoodie on the floor yesterday, and the cat, like when I walked past, she was just like lying all over it. I'm like, she's doing that on purpose. Like, so doing that on purpose. She's like, this is too black.
Okay, so that is what this character's job is, and clearly her job matters to you because you fully buy into it.
All the time, yes.
So that's why she's successful, and she's working at sort of a big company in order to increase their profit, and so they value her. But she's introverted because of her autism spectrum. Or they call it Asperger's in this book, and then throughout the other books they change it to autism spectrum because it changed. Not legally, but anyways, the terminology changed.
Yep.
And she is having a hard time in love, but not so much in life. Everything else is working, friendships, family, that kind of stuff, all right. But with romantic relationships, they're not going well. She's not a virgin or anything like that.
No, but she's, from what I mean, she doesn't enjoy sex and stuff.
No,
she does it because it's expected. It's like kind of thing. Like, it's something that you do.
Yeah. And she's had 3 past relationships, none of them being sexually fulfilling or emotionally fulfilling either. Yeah. So she has a crush on her coworker. The coworker, kind of a slime ball, who we find out later on, his mother also uses escorts, naming the main character here. So he tells her you should get an escort to brush up on your sex so that you could come into a regular relationship in the real world. And she thinks, all right, that's not a bad idea. So
sound advice. Because her mother also thinks that she should definitely get married.
The mom wants her to get married. So she hires a escort, which takes her a lot of time to find the right escort to hire. It sounds to me like there's some sort of... But it sounds to me like there's like a catalog. You know where you're like picking like a sperm donor.
It's not a catalog? How do you know what you're going to get otherwise?
Honestly, I have never seen an escort catalog before. It's got to be like
a Tinder for escorts where you get like a picture and like stats.
I would hope so, but I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure. I don't know. And then they like, I am 8 inches, not 7 inches. Anyways.
And then it's like, grower, not a shower, and like all sorts of the important stuff.
You think that's included in there?
No,
that would
I'm
be
just joking.
That would be awesome.
No, but she chooses Michael Pan.
Yeah.
He is a Vietnamese Swedish, which
Yeah.
That's a thing.
Swedish. Larson, that's his last name. That's right. And his father is, I guess, a Swedish sleazeball who is a con artist and cons a bunch of women, or has con and continues to con a bunch of women into giving them all of their money, him all of their money.
The original Tinder swindler.
Yeah, original Tinder swindler. And then he fucks off and then goes to another person and then has kids and takes all the money and then goes to another person. And
the stellar reputation we have.
I know, not the greatest. Especially not with that new TV show about about Stockholm Syndrome originality.
Yeah.
And he is still
all the good
living
things
the
out
life.
Of Sweden. At least we have good candy. What can I say?
Good candy and sleazy men. I'm married to one, so sorry about that. We will see. He still hasn't stolen money from me yet.
My partner.
Well, anyway, she chooses Michael, and he's an escort, but he's only an escort because of his sleazeball dad who stole all the money from his mom, and he has got like 5 sisters or something crazy. And the mom has cancer and has an insane amount of cancer bills because they're in America.
Mm-hmm. Which, again, would not work if they lived in Sweden.
Or Canada.
But, I mean, being half Swedish here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, being half Swedish, that's right. They could have come here. And so he has to escort once a week, which is the only time that he can actually do it because he has another job being a tailor at his mom's dry cleaning company. Mm-hmm. And so he has every Friday slotted out for a new escort relationship. And he's been doing this for 3 years. And that's basically his social life. Yep. Other than his friendships with Kwan and Kwan's brother Kai, he doesn't have too much of a big social network other than his family members, because he spends his free time being an escort in order to make money.
But he usually doesn't do repeat.
No, he doesn't. And he had one who was repeat that we find out later on is the mother of this guy that the main character has a crush on.
Because there's only 10 people in this world.
I know. Yeah. But no, he has slept with half of San Francisco, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily. Like, this is where I find it okay to give a pass to being a man whore. Like, if you're an escort doing it for money for your family, all right. If you're just like a guy sleeping with a different girl every week, yuck.
Yeah, for sure. And Stella is, I mean, she's funny. She's hilarious. Like, I remember reading this book and like laughing at all the stuff she says. Like, French kissing reminds her of a shark getting its teeth cleaned by pilot fish. She wants to go like, not... Like, she doesn't care for foreplay. She just wants to do the sex and she wants to be good at it. Sure. And it's like, I want to do this. Show me how to do this. Yeah. I want to be good at this. I want to make you feel I don't care about myself. It's a lot of that. Like, she doesn't really do... It's not about her. She wants to be good at pleasing others in sex.
That was like the initial like
so
reason for meeting him.
Lesson plan. Like, this written out lesson plan.
Yeah.
For Michael saying, like, this time we're going to do this, this, and this, and then we're going to graduate up to this, this, and this. And he's like, well, this, hang on. So let's, make it good for you too. Yeah, I don't know, like. I know.
But on their first meet, they just kiss, and then she kind of has a panic attack, and she tells him why. She doesn't tell him about her Asperger's yet, but she tells him, basically, she thinks she's bad at the sex and wants to be better at the sex. And she's an econometrician, and this is like, everything needs to make sense to her.
Yeah, there's real logic to it. Like,
but so she has a shit ton of money. So she says, let's have 3 sessions to start with. Mm-hmm. And in session 1, we will go over foreplay and then have a review and...
and it was like feedback session
and rating, and she was like, oh, I didn't mean your rating, I meant you will rate me. And he's like, this is all so fucking weird. And the second session was blowjob or hand job, and the third session is intercourse. And he doesn't do multiple dates. So he says no. And she's like, what the fuck? And they sleep over. They only just sleep. But it's the next morning and she's like, okay, how about we get together and instead of it being about sex, because it's not working for her, like she's having too much anxiety around it, you teach me how to be in a relationship. And then when I learn how to be in a relationship and I find the right person to be in a relationship with, then they'll be okay with working towards the sex with me. I love how we're calling it the sex, by the way.
The sex, yeah.
And he's like,
the
no.
name of the title of this episode.
The sex. And he's like, no, I don't do repeat. And she's like, okay, we'll start with a month. And he's like, no. And she's like, okay, 50,000 and it will be per month, 1 month up to 6 months. 50K a month to just be a boyfriend, and you don't actually have to have sex with this person if you're not interested in them. Just teach them a little bit of how the ropes of being with another human being in a committed relationship. I think those are good lessons that everybody should kind of go through.
I feel like I'm going to go back to Starstruck now because that's how my brain works. In Starstruck, there's an argument. And my husband literally looked at me and he goes like, she's like you.
Oh.
And she's just throwing random shit out there, seeing what sticks, saying insanely hurtful stuff. And then just storming off. And I'm like, yeah, kind of really. So I feel like if someone were to say, I'll pay you $50,000 to teach me to be a good boyfriend, I'll be like, I'm not sure I'm the right person. Okay. I feel like I would not be qualified. I mean, it was 19 years yesterday, or the day before. This week.
Your anniversary?
Since we met.
Oh, since you met, okay.
Yeah. And I'm like, I don't think I'm qualified to tell anyone how to be in a relationship. I don't have enough work experience.
What? Yes, you do. But in this case, Michael doesn't also have any experience. He has never actually had a real relationship. He only has relationships with one person every week.
Yeah.
And the one time that he had another session with that person, she got obsessed, bought him a Tesla, and stalks him. Anyways, they start to date, paid dating, and he is starting to become more attracted to her and fall for her, and she is becoming more attracted to him and fall for him. And this whole book was set up being that she's going to learn how to have sex and how basically that she will be pleased and how to please other people too. And he's really good at that part because he has pleased many a woman, but they have never been so interested in his thing.
No.
More on them because, they're paying him. Which is unfair, but whatever, it's life and it's a job and it's real.
If you pay for it, then you pay for yourself, no? You're not paying to get someone else
for
on.
Sure.
I don't know.
Yuck.
Yeah.
I don't think, that's yuck to me.
I would never pay for this. I don't know. I would not accept money for it. I don't know.
No, I can't say that I would, I can understand people in some situations that pay for it. But... And the job of the person being the one getting paid.
As long as you're okay with doing it. As long as
if it's consensual.
It's
but
fine,
for me personally, I think I would only want to ever be in a physical situation with another person where we're both enjoying it. I wouldn't want to just have sex with a blow-up doll.
No.
But some people do. And we started watching this show where this guy actually has a blow-up doll wife. And it's not even a blow-up doll. It's a real gigantic rubber life-size.
Like the Japanese ones.
Yeah.
Have you seen the boys?
No. No, I haven't seen the boys.
Is it the boys?
But this...
it's not the boys. It's... What is it? Yeah, keep talking.
Anyways, this TV series is Ray Romano, from that TV show back in the day. He's the one that has this blow-up doll, and he's everyone calls him a pervert, but his wife passed away so long ago, and he doesn't want to be with anybody else in his small little village, and I'm pretty sure they're living in some sort of post-apocalyptic world also, so he just has a blow-up doll wife, and to each his own, fine, there's your blow-up doll wife, but it's not for me. It's for you, but it's not for me. But There's no blow-up dolls in this book, irregardless. Or irregardless is not a word.
Good
regardless.
Boys, it's called.
Good Boys. Do they have blow-up doll wives?
No. Okay. Good Boys is a movie about 3 boys that are like 12 years old.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I have seen it.
Yeah, and then one of their parents have all of the sex toys.
Okay.
And the sex swing and the blow-up doll and all of it. And at one point they arm themselves with dildos and whatnot. These 3 boys, and they don't even know what it is. It is, and they sell this sex doll. They sell it to someone to make some money.
Yeah. I remember that. That was good. That was a good movie.
Hilarious. So good. Anyways.
So they end up falling for each other, but she gets in a lot of awkward situations with his family and because of her autism, and he takes her to a nightclub to loosen her up one day, and she gets like a panic attack from overstimulation because of her autism.
Yeah.
And so she runs out, and there comes in Quan, which is his best friend, and Kwan's younger brother, Kai, which is the main character of the second book. He's autistic, quite higher on the spectrum than she is. And he's like, you kind of remind me a little bit of my brother. Are you autistic? And then she just nods to him, and he's like, does Michael know? And she's like, no. And I don't like that she hides it from him, because they're trying to have a real relationship, but she doesn't even tell him like a really strong thing about herself.
But I get divided on these questions, because I think if you tell someone, then this is going to be something someone's going to define you by at all times. So if you want someone to like you just for you, you might not want to disclose this kind of information right away.
But she's paying him. But it's might as well be complete open book with somebody who you're not supposed to be getting emotionally involved with.
Fair enough. But it's the same as like, should you have to disclose if you're bisexual, right away? Or is it okay to wait and tell someone later? Like, is this something that, does it really hurt? Kind of.
Like, does it matter in the beginning of a relationship?
I could understand having to disclose like HIV status, this, or her B status, whatever, something that could actually put your partner at risk of something that.
I think it depends on which part of the relationship you're at. Like, if you're on a date, like let's say a 3rd, 4th, 5th date or something like that. Maybe you've had sex already or haven't, and you talk about like an ex or something.
Yeah.
And you bring up, oh, my ex was a girl.
Yeah.
And that would be the time to talk about bisexuality. But not like, hi, my name is Jerrica, I'm bisexual. Weird.
No, but it's just the same. Like, if you're highly functioning autistic.
Yeah.
Would you need to be like, hi, I'm Lia, I'm autistic, just so that people could have this, like...
No, but if you're going to take me to a nightclub where I know I'm going to be overstimulated, I'm going to say, this situation is going to make me overstimulated. I might have a panic attack here. I'm not so sure I want to be in big crowds with all the light and all the noise.
But she should say that regardless, because you can have overstimulation and panic attacks even if you're not autistic.
That's what I mean, but she doesn't say any of it.
But she's trying. I think at this point she's also trying in the book to appear more normal.
Yeah, she's trying to be normal, but she's... what is normal?
Exactly. That's why I did the little rabbit ears.
Yeah, okay.
You can't see them.
You can't see Leah,
but I did the little
air quotes. So when they do, they'll have to say, this is the most amazing first sex scene ever that I have read ever, because he has all of the skills, she has none of the skills, and she's expecting nothing because that's what she's gotten in her past relationships before. But the first time they actually have intercourse, he gives her 3, 4, like multiple orgasms, like side by side, and she's just like rattling, like, and again and again and again, and afterwards she's like, okay, so that's what sex is. And I kind of wanted to be like, that's not what sex is. That's not what sex is with everybody now.
Not with everybody. With the right people.
Yeah, but not always like intercourse.
No.
Stimulation either.
No.
But good for him and good for her.
He must have some moves, man.
That's what I mean. Like, he must know all of the parts.
Which is weird, like, because I really don't like this. When we talk about man whore, man slut and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, saying I am good at sex.
Yeah.
all right, but everyone is different.
So
and
different.
People get off on different things, and some will never get off on certain things, and others will get off really easily. So how can you be like, I mean, it's got to be, you might be good at sex, but it would probably be like you're good at reading signals and like paying attention to. But even then, I have a hard time with this. Oh, he's such a man-slut, he can get any woman off. Can he now? Can he now? Because I also feel like it's a lot of headspace and stuff like that when it comes to
and
women.
Chemistry too. Yeah. Chemistry in the moment and like stress levels and like situational and everything like that for sure. But there is something to say about an experienced person, or maybe not even, you don't need to be a man whore, you just need to have communication with maybe one or two partners where you learn about the female body. But this is what
I'm saying, where you learn to read signals more than anything else, because, and I guess maybe that is what being good at sex is, just learning to understand the signals that people give off.
But you have to have communication for that. Not necessarily multiple partners is not going to help, is what I mean. Like, if you have sex with 100 people, doesn't mean you're going to be better at sex. But if you have sex with 5 people and you talk to them and, like, actually work through things.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, these man-sluts, most of them have had sex with 100 people and only once with each and every single one of them. And, like, is the first time you have sex with someone, like, the most mind-blowing? Like, maybe if there's, like, a ton of pent-up, you know, sexual tension and all of that, and then it finally happens. But is it like the first time? It's usually gets better with time, with getting to know each other and like learning what works for people and not, you know? I don't know. I find the man whore. We'll rant about this in another.
Right. The man whore concept is not my favorite trope.
No.
And I don't like it in real life either. I think communication is the best thing that could ever happen in a sexual situation. And it doesn't always. But I recommend it. Nevertheless, they start to develop romantic romantic feelings for each other. And they have to get over some hurdles in order to end up being together. But by the end, he feels unworthy of her because, like, his identity has been nothing other than just getting by with his family out of the mass amount of debt that the father left them in. And so he has to sort of find himself too. It's not really just about her finding herself and, you know, finding her womanhood or whatever you want to call it, femininity or power. He has to find his own too. And after he finds his own, they get together and she basically says, like, I don't care about the past. I care about now and who you are and who you are to me. And so it was a really beautiful romance. The only problem that I had with the book was the premise is supposed to be that she is asking him for like full on communication and openness the entire time. And she's actually paying him like a shit ton of money to do it. And they start to do it and then they continue to do it. But then once they have sex, all they do is have sex. So all of the learning stopped. And then it was just sex. And it was like he's trying to communicate something with her and she just jumps his bones. So it was a little bit like, okay, this was about her learning about relationships, and then it was, no, now it's just her enjoying the heck out of sex with this escort guy.
Good for her.
Yes.
Good for her. Who needs talking?
Me!
We know you need talking. All right.
I need so much talking.
All right. Anyways, I would recommend this book. I did recommend this book, and I think you are at the spot now where you would recommend this book too. Maybe not book 2 and 3, but at least the first one.
Definitely the first one. Skip the others.
Yeah. So, thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next week. Bye. We'd Rather Be Reading is an original podcast by Jerrica and Lia. The music for The Penguins, written and performed by David Allred from the album The Transition, courtesy of Erased Tapes. Please check him out on Spotify and check us out on social media. We're on Facebook and Instagram at We'd Rather Be Reading and on Twitter at We'd Rather Read. You can also email us at we'dratherbereadingthepod@gmail.com. Thanks for listening.